Welcome to another exciting episode of Doug's Electronic Repair Bench.
Hi, evening YouTube. Here with you this evening to, well, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I had planned on making a, or starting to make a panel for the DC portion of my power supply. I was going to use this little, what was left of the license plate from doing the AC part. I was going to try to put it on the bench, but I'm not really sure exactly how to go about it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the spot you are looking at the moment is void of a couple things. This is one of them, my screwdriver holder, and this is the other one, a shelf I made for the switches that I don't think I'm using. For one thing, it's crooked. For another thing, it just takes up way too much room. I'll just put it over there on the shelf and be done with it. But anyway, the what I was talking about doing was putting something like this here for the DC part of the power supply, and that would work all right. I'd have to put in a couple of standoffs to give it enough room, but I don't know if it's going to be enough room by the time I put my capacitor in there and my gauges. I shouldn't say gauges, panel meters. I have two more panel meters coming from eBay. They're not near as big as these. They're much smaller, and so they won't take up. I probably could put them lengthwise, you know, put them across here like this, and instead of having them mount this way. But even if I do that, I don't know, I'm not sure how that would work, you know, unless I got something down at the bottom. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this yet. That's the problem I'm having. Let me back up a little bit. There you can see. Let me turn this back on to off the macro. I think it takes a better picture this way. Well, I have a nice space there that I can put whatever I need in. But like I said, it's just a matter of figuring it out. I have binding posts coming, red and black binding posts, and I have capacitors. I have 2200 microfarad at 50 volt electrolytic capacitors coming. I have 6 of those coming. So 50 volts is really all I expect to get out of this DC part of it. For low voltage DC, I don't expect to get much more than that. At some time in the future, I may try to go for a high voltage DC up in the 400, 500, 600 volt range for another project. But right now, just looking for, say, 0 to 50 volts DC. It won't be super high amperage, but it'll be high enough, like I said, to run a radio or something like that, a car radio or stereo or whatever. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at, and like I said, I just have too much crap. I think I'm going to have to go and rearrange the whole pegboard once again. Seems like every time I make a new project, I end up having to rearrange everything. And last time I did it, I like the way it's laid out now. I'm used to it, how it is. The screwdriver thing, I like the screwdriver thing, but it's going to have to be mounted up higher in order to use it, because the screwdrivers stick down, you know, all the way down in here, this area. So at least, you know, this area here I can't use. So I think if I put it up in this area here, I can let the screwdrivers hang down here. If you can see where I'm pointing to, I think you can. But they would be down in this area. The longest one, let's see, is around this length here. So if I had it mounted around that point right there, I think that would work out pretty good. And so may try that and see how that works out. That takes care of one thing. The other thing, like I said, this thing I'm not going to use, so I don't have to worry about that. Mainly just trying to get enough space to clear enough space to where I can put that panel in there that I want to put in. And I'm not really sure about using this plate because, for one thing, the metal is a little hard to work with. I mean, I can get the Dremel to cut it like I did the other one, but that just didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. So I may try to find something in plastic or something similar to make a box out of, or even maybe just get a box. You know, a box like that, only a little bit bigger. Not even bigger, but I mean just similar to that one there, and mount that in there. I think that would work. The only thing that's going to be on there is the 2 panel meters. You got the voltage, DC volts and DC amps, and there will be a switch to turn it on and off, and there will be 2 binding posts for the DC output, and I think that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think that's it. Anywho, that would work out rather well, I do believe, if I had another box like that, and that box wasn't that expensive. Now, I will have a similar battery arrangement to this one, and as you can see, I've had those batteries in there since May of last year. So so far they've lasted a year, so I can't complain too much about how long they last. So if the DC or if the AC is any indication, I think the DC will be just fine getting a couple more batteries. And I'm not really sure I have to have 2 batteries, 2 separate batteries, but rather than take the chance of powering them both from the same battery like I tried to with those meters and end up burning things out, I think I'm going to go ahead and get separate batteries. And I'll have to have another either relay or something like that to activate it when I flip the switch. The switch is going to have to do several things. It's going to have to turn the power off to the output, or actually the power to the input of the circuits what I'll be turning off. But and it's also going to have to turn the batteries off. Now, one relay could do that. One switch. In other words, the double pole, double throw switch would do that pretty easy, I think. I could get everything done with that. Or maybe I could get a relay to do all of it. And just have one single pole, single throw switch to activate the relay. That might be the better way to go because I'm going to have to have a relay, it looks like. So, that's the area I'm concentrating on right at the moment. And I think if I get a box like this, I think I can mount it right here in this area, either up and down or side to side, either way. I think that would work out just fine. So that's my thoughts on that. Like I said, I have most of the parts coming. I don't have a box obviously yet, but that's what I'm going to do as far as making. I'll use one of my little circuit boards to make the. I'm going to have a bridge rectifier, full weight bridge rectifier. I made out of my 1N 4007 diodes that I've got a million of over there. And then I'll just put the cap in with it, basically across it to smooth it out, and I'm going to do some testing with it, but I think that's going to be it. I don't really think I need much more than that just to for an output, you know, like I said, what I want to do, and so we'll go from there and see. But now this is not going to go down to microvolts, things like that. It's not going to be able to do that. All the I'm trying to think what I'm saying. The variac starts out at 0.2 volts right there, as you can see. It's not all the way down, and moving it a little bit brings the voltage up pretty quick. So there's 4.4 right there. I just barely moved it a little bit, so I can get it down in there's 2 volts. That's pretty good range there. I don't know if I can get 1 volt out of it. Yeah, there's 1 volt. See, if I just move it a little bit though, it gives me stuff like that. That's basically a volt there. So you know, I can get it pretty good with that, but it's not perfect. Now if I get up into the 10 volt range, you know, I can do that pretty easy. And stuff like that. That's 15. But you know, it's just a matter of how much I twist it, how much it does that stuff, and so you know. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. I don't need it. I don't need it exact. Anybody that works on car radios, you know they'll work from 12 volts up to 14 to 15 volts, pretty easy, and so that's not a problem there. So, anywho, and like I say, it's not going to be regulated. So, time I put a load on, it's going to drop the voltage down a little bit, and depending on the load, how much it draws, things like that, I may have to crank it up a little bit more. But that's what I want for now. I just want something simple. I don't believe I have a problem with the 9-volt supply. I think I can get 9 volts out of it pretty easy. Maybe even 6 volts come out of it pretty easy, I think. So 6 and 9 volts, those are pretty common voltages for projects that I'm going to be doing. So that's that. And I think what I may do is just work on this, mounting this screwdriver holder and things like that. I've got so many of these tools like this Dremel that I need to put up some type of holder for, or a place to put them. I just need some way to keep them so they're not all over my desk, obviously. And so that's just something I need to do. And let me turn this off. So anyway, like I said, that's what I'm doing here this evening. This may be a girlless weekend. I'm not really sure yet. Kylie seems to think that at least she will be at home this weekend with Lexi working. I know she's working all weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm kind of thinking she'll be here because it's much easier for me to drop her off and take her, pick her up, and things like that than it would be for them. They live like, say, 14 miles out of town. So that may be the case. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I haven't actually talked to my daughter about it yet, so I think her father said he thought maybe I needed a break, which you know, I don't know about that. I guess I wouldn't hurt me, you know, but so I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, that's what I'm doing. It's Tuesday evening. They were pick up and drop off today, so I didn't get a chance to see them much, and that's about all I know about that. If depending on if they come or not, if Kylie comes, I should say, I may not work on the car this weekend. Then again, I may work on it myself a little bit. You know, there's some places I want to work on as far as sanding it goes, and get that a little bit better than it is now. And for you guys that Russ, you know, Double R, you guys watch these videos on the Buick, you're gonna cringe. I know it's some of the stuff I do with it, but I'm a low budget type guy, and I just basically want to get that roof down to a smooth consistency, so there's no big bumps in it and things like that. And basically, I put a coat of a few coats of primer on it because they're real thin, but put some primer on it, sand it down till it's smooth again, slap some white on it, and be done with it. Because I'm not gonna. This is, like I say, this isn't a show car. This is nothing special. I just basically want to paint the top white because you see how it looks. It looks terrible like it is, and so that's my main goal. And like I said, if it turns out halfway decent, I may try to work on the bottom. If it don't, I may not. You know, so we shall see. But I guess that's about it. I don't really have anything else to say. I was going to do my eating flapping video out in the car this week, but I'll tell you what, that's another thing I want to mention. This is about to drive me nuts. It's keeping me hopping. Opening windows, shutting windows. We got up to, over the weekend, up in the 80-degree range, and I was busy opening all the windows so it would be fairly decent in here. And then boom, Monday morning coming, and we're down in the 40s and the 50s again. It's just like, you know, what's up with that? So right now all the windows are closed, and I did turn the heat on this morning because it was 68 here in the house, and that's what I turn it down to at night. So I like it about 72 of a day, and then when I turn it up, it usually goes up past the 72 where the furnace doesn't run. I think right now it's at 73 inside, so I'll turn it again down to 68. It probably won't turn on much tonight, but I think tomorrow is supposed to be even cooler than it was today. I think it got up to 65 today outside. So I think it's supposed to be in the 50s tomorrow, so I guess that'll be another fun day. I got my sweats on again. You know, I don't like being cold. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So, anywho, that's what I'm doing this evening, and I didn't want to make a big long video, but it looks like I'm doing it anyway, so you know how that goes, guys. Bill, I hope you, if you're watching, I hope you get your scope going. I know I seen you put up a video for the EE vlog, EE blog, or whatever it is. I hope they can help you get that fixed. I have no idea about anything about it because I mainly haven't looked at any of the circuits or anything like that. I'm not that great on stuff like that either. I'll admit that too. Old radios, you know, that's no problem. I can fix those. I have been doing some work on FM reading, I should say, and Rick over at All American 5 posted a video the other day on what was it? Was it stereo? It wasn't stereo. It was FM. Maybe it was just FM detection, I think. But anyway, I was talking to him about it, and I said, you know, there's just so many different forms of FM detection. You know, it's just kind of hard to figure it out. I think if I ever got it clear in my mind how FM works, the frequency modulation part, I'm not real clear on that because, like I said, I know frequency modulation is the frequency itself is modulated, but it still has to be within a carrier wave. In other words, when you tune to 100.2 on your FM dial or whatever, you know, if the frequency modulates, it goes up and down, you know, okay, it still has to be centered around that frequency that it's in, because, and I know that deals with bandwidth, and bandwidth has a lot to do with it, so I just need to understand better on how that works and get that in my head. If I can ever get some things around my head around them, I should say, I'm usually okay. I can figure out things how they work then, but sometimes it takes me a while to get it around in my head how these concepts work, and if I can figure that out, then I'll be a lot better on FM. But until that happens, you know, I'm struggling with FM, so I haven't even considered FM stereo. And you know, you get your pilot tone, all that stuff going on. It's just bah. So, all right. So I'm talked enough, and you guys have a pleasant evening. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.